is back, and I'm back with yet another amazing recipe. I am so excited yet another day because today at the Young's house, Gina Young is going to share with you all how easy it is to make smothered pork chops. This smothered pork chop recipe right here, it's delicious. It is so easy to make, doesn't require a lot of ingredients, and you know, you make it Gina Young style, it's going to be so tasty, hands down. You'll never have my smothered pork chops before. You better make you some. Here are the lovely ingredients you're gonna need. First thing that you will need would be some nice fresh pork chops. When I go out and purchase my pork chops, I like to make sure they're like medium size with the thickness. You know, I don't want a really thin pork chop. I don't want a really thick one, but the medium size is just perfect when you're making fried pork chops. So that's what we have here. I have washed them off with lime juice, salt, and cold water. And then we've pat them dry with a nice paper towel. You're gonna need some really interesting ingredient here. And this right here is some chicken powder, and I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do with this. This is really interesting. And then we have a nice sweet Vidalia onion, okay? You could use bell pepper as well, and I'll talk about what we're gonna do with the onion. Alongside of our smothered pork chops, you gotta have some rice. So I have the boil in a bag rice that I absolutely love to use. You will need some oil. The type of oil that I like to use when I'm frying pork chops is a good vegetable oil. Now, any kind of oil you want to use, that's fine, but I'm using vegetable oil today. And then we're also going to have some skillet corn. I believe this is like a cream corn, and it is. We're going to cook 2 cans of cream corn, and we're going to put some butter and sugar in it. So now let's talk about a couple of spices so we can make this thing taste delicious. So right here, we have garlic powder, black pepper, a little bit of parsley flakes so we can make it nice and beautiful, onion powder, and salt. And over here, I have a little dredging station, and that's just a little all-purpose flour. Any kind of flour you want to use will be fine. Make sure your hands are impeccably clean. Let's get started with this really quick and simple, yet so tasty recipe. Okay, everyone, so the first thing that I want to do is let's go ahead and take this time. If you haven't washed off your meat, go ahead, give it a nice wash off. And then pat them dry with a paper towel. We're going to go ahead and start seasoning. Now, when I take my meat out of the refrigerator, I always like to let it set for a while, at least for maybe 15 minutes to a half an hour, because what you want, this is garlic powder going on. What you want to happen is you want that chill to come off of the meat. Once the chill comes off of the meat can kind of rest a little bit. I feel like, this is just my personal opinion, I feel like when you put really freezing cold meat into a hot pan, it seizes up and it's going to turn out dry. It kind of goes into shock. And it comes out dry every time. But if you take it out of the refrigerator, you let it kind of hang out on the counter, come up to room temperature, then you put it in that hot pan, the proteins are already relaxed, and they're happy when they hit the hot pan. You know, and it tastes better, and it's always juicy. That's just my opinion. Okay, so now that's the garlic powder, and we're gonna go in with some black pepper. Don't be shy when it comes to your seasoning. You need seasoning, you know, in order to taste the flavor. A lot of people tell me, you know, Gina, I make something and it never has flavor. Well, you might need a little bit more seasoning. You know, and it's just a true fact. Okay, so now we have the black pepper and the garlic. Let's go in with some onion powder. I got a tiny bit left, so I may only be able to season one side, but as long as I get some on there, that onion powder is going to bring these pork chops amazing flavor. When it comes to the salt, I like to pour it in my hand. This is the sea salt that I'm using. And then I can really distribute it how I want to, you know. I hope that you all are having an amazing day today. Let me know in the comment section below, have you ever had smothered pork chops, or when is the last time you had smothered pork chops? This is a staple here at the Young's house, and we all love, love, love this recipe. And I want to show you that it's easy to make. I'm going to show you that you need to be stress-free in your kitchen. You know, you don't want to be stressed out in your kitchen. You want to make sure as you cook, you make sure you clean up as you cook, and you will be stress-free. Okay, so now we got the salt on just like so. When I come back, we'll have the other side of the pork chops nice and seasoned. And then I'll show you all what we need to do next. This recipe comes together really quickly. It doesn't take you forever and a day to make this. Be right back. So now what I want to do now that we have let our beautiful pork chops kind of marinate with the seasoning, let's go ahead and dredge it. All right, so now what I like to do is, I don't want to dredge every single one of them right now. I like to dredge my pork because here's how I feel. I feel like if you dredge them all right now, the ones that get cooked last, the flour turns kind of gummy and wet. And that's not what I'm looking for when I want to fry pork chops. When I'm ready to fry my pork chops, I want for them to look like such. Let me show you. Let's see. I can bring it a little closer. Okay? So you see how the flour is nice and dry? That's what I want to happen when it goes into the oil. If you dredge them all up right now, like I said, they'll get, as they set, the flour will get gummy, it'll get wet, and they won't fry up right. So how about what we do is we start off frying just a couple, maybe 3 or 4, or dredging just 3 or 4. And then after we cook those, we'll come back and we'll do a couple more batches. Okay, so that's how I like to do it. All right, so now we got 3 here. Nice, beautiful dredge, and we're gonna give it a nice shake just like so. Let that excess flour come off. Otherwise, if you don't shake it like this before going into the pan, what's gonna happen? Well, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. The flour is going to, instead of coming off when you shake it like this, the flour is going to go to the bottom of your pan. It's going to burn, and then your pork chops are going to have that burn flavor. We're not looking for that, okay? So you always give it a nice shake off before it goes into the pan. Now, behind me, if you all can see, we're going to be cooking on the big stove. I do have about this much oil in the bottom of my pan. All we're looking for is to get a beautiful golden brown crispiness to both sides of the pork chop. Don't worry about if the pork chop is done. Guess why? Because when we put it into our beautiful gravy, we're going to let those pork chops simmer in that gravy for a nice amount of time, maybe an hour and a half or so, and definitely they'll get done. All we're looking for right now when the pork chops go into the oil is just to get a beautiful crust onto it, a golden brown crust. Okay everyone, so if you take a look in our pan, you can see that the vegetable oil is very shallow. We're not deep frying these, so we don't need a whole lot of oil. Okay, and right here we have our beautiful chops. I'm going to give them a nice shake before they go in. And here in the back I have some water boiling. We're going to salt the water, and we're going to bring the water up to a boil. Throw the rice in, cook it for 11 minutes. It's going to turn out perfect every time. Okay everyone, so now we got some hot vegetable oil. Make sure your oil's hot. We're going to shake. Shake that baby just like so into the oil, and that sizzle right there, you got to see that sizzle. You have to hear it. If you don't, just wait a minute till you put the other ones in, okay? So now I'm going to put in as many as I can, but what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to overcrowd the pan, okay? Now, I'm not going to show you all every single pork chop that I cook because I'm making a whole lot, But I will show you the first batch, and then I'll do the other batches off camera, and then I want to show you all how to make this amazing, really quick and simple, yet so delicious gravy that is unforgettable. So now what I want to do is get started with our creamed corn. Even if this was a regular fresh corn, I always like to season mine with sugar. Some of you may not. If you're that person, don't use it, okay? I'm not looking for a really sweet taste, but I do like the sweet and the salty. I like the sweet and the salty together when it comes to corn. We're going to go in with some black pepper, nice amount, and then some salt. Okay, and then I'm going to use a little over a half a stick of sweet cream butter, going right in. We're going to cook this baby until everything is nice and heated well through. And guess what? The side dish is done. Let's go ahead and get our rice going. Right into the pan just like so. 11 minutes. It turns out perfect every time. Okay, everyone, let's start to flip these babies. See if we got some gorgeous color. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Look at this, beautiful. Pork chops have some gorgeous color on them. All right, the corn is waiting to go in. The rice is cooking, and I got that second batch of pork chops going. When I come back, we're gonna make this amazing gravy, Gina Young style. Hey everyone, so I want to talk about something really quickly. All of these beautiful remnants and this fond that is in the bottom of the pan, that's what it's called. It's a lot of flavor and a lot of goodies. And there is some flour in the bottom and some oil. You could make gravy out of this right here, but the reason why I'm not going to do it today because I have a whole lot of pork chops that I want to smother in gravy, and this pan is not going to hold it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this oil to make my gravy, but I'm going to be using this pan here because I want to fill the gravy up halfway up the pan so we can really smother our pork chops down in here when I come back. We have the oil from the pan that we have fried our pork chops in. Now we're going to put flour in. And we want to make a roux. Making a roux is very simple. You would put equal parts fat, which is our oil today, or butter, you know, equal parts fat, equal parts flour, then you whisk the two together. And you want to cook that uncooked flour for about 3 to 4 minutes to get rid of that raw flavor, you know. And then what we're going to do is we are going to whisk the two together just like so, and I'm going to show you the perfect consistency that we are looking for. When I was 10 years old, my dad taught me how to make gravy, and I never forgot. He would have me do one or two things. He would have me pour the water in or do the whisking. So he would pour the water in and I would whisk, and he would say, don't stop whisking, you know, or I would put the flour in and he would whisk and he would whisk away, you know. And then also I'm going to tell you an easy way that you can season your gravy so that it is so delicious. This may look like a lot of flour. Well, it is. That's because I'm making a whole lot of gravy. When I come back, I'll show you how it all comes together. So now I just want to come in really quickly to show you what type of consistency you're looking for. Look at that. It's not like plaster. It should never look like plaster. It is a thick consistency, but not too thick. You see, it is pourable. So now we're going to make our way over to the sink, and we're going to add water. If you wanted to add broth, you can, any kind of broth. Okay, so we're going to add some water. It's going to be hot water, and we're just going to whisk that baby, okay, until we get the consistency of gravy. Time to add the liquid, whether it's broth or whether it's water, you keep on whisking. This makes a lot of gravy. Look, at first, it's gonna look like you mess it up because it's a whole lot thicker than what you even imagine. But you keep on adding water, you keep on whisking. It's not going to be lumpy, it's going to be perfect, and you're gonna have lots and lots of gravy. That's what I'm looking for. When I come back, I'll show you the consistency. Okay, so I wanted to come in and show you all the consistency. Look at that. Ooh, wait, you better know I'm excited. So now chicken powder. We got a lot of gravy, so I'm using a lot of chicken powder. Sometimes what I'll do is I will, look at that, my goodness, be right back. Now sometimes what I will do is I will take the beef ramen noodle seasoning pack and use that for my flavor, but I always like to use some type of bouillon flavor, whether it's the ramen noodle seasoning pack or chicken powder or beef powder. We're going in with parsley flakes and garlic powder. Don't be shy with the garlic powder. You can use a little bit of soy sauce or kitchen bouquet to get it nice and dark. I'm going to use a little tiny bit of kitchen bouquet so we can get that gravy color. And if I don't have that, I'm going to put a little bit of browning seasoning in here. Okay everyone, so you've seen the color of the gravy, and we're not happy with it being that light. So what we're gonna do, I found some kitchen bouquet and I'm so happy. We are going to put some in there, okay? This doesn't really have a flavor. Some people say, I taste the flavor in there, Gina, but there's no flavor. There's no flavor, it's just color. Okay, so I like to put some in just like so. I thought my thing was going to fall back in there. And then we whisk it around and we're going to get a darker gravy. And automatically, when I come back in, I'm going to show you how dark it's gotten, okay? I'll be right back. Take a look at the gravy. I love this color right here. This color is just perfect for me, okay? So now, what I want to do is now we're going to make our way. Well, here's what we'll do. Let's bring our pork chops over here. Get them into here so they can get nice and smothery. I think that's the word I want to use. And then we need to chop this up so we can put some fresh onion flavor into this gravy. Time to get some of these chops right into the gravy. And so now you see why I made so much gravy, because I got a lot of pork chops to cover. And making this much gravy isn't gonna do the trick. I'll be right back, guys. Let's get the rest of these babies in there. Just like so. I'm so excited. And I feel like I'm gonna make a nice thing of cornbread as well. Like you need cornbread. You need cornbread. The birds are singing outside. It's a beautiful day. I might eat outside today. Look at this. Okay, everybody, now it's time to, guess what? To let this simmer, okay? And in the meanwhile, I'm gonna come back and we'll get our onions nice and sliced so we can put them in here. Let's cut some onions. Now, sometimes I do onions and bell peppers, if you wanted to, you know. So now, I wanna go ahead and I'm not using a whole bunch of onion. Like, you really don't have to overwhelm the situation with too much onion, okay? So then, let's just do a number like this. And there has been times, well, I'll turn around and saute the onion before going in. If you do that, it'll give your onion a nice sweet taste, you know. All right, nothing special with the onions here. Just really chop them to get them in. I'm gonna wash my hands before my eyes start to cry. I'll be right back to show you what we'll do next. Get in there, get those onions in there, just like so. Take a look at this, everybody. Just take a look. It's not ready yet because we're going to let these babies simmer for a long time. But just take a look. Ooh-wee. If y'all enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Tell your family and friends and everyone you know, tell the whole world about Gina Young, what I'm doing in this kitchen on a daily basis. I'm going to say a prayer. You all are going to get that first bite when this is cooked. Take a look at it, everybody. Gina Young Style, homemade smothered pork chops. Make you some. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you once again for a beautiful meal today. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Okay, now, let's go in really quickly, because my camera's going to die. We wouldn't want that to happen during your taste test, right? No, we wouldn't. It cut like butter. Look at this. Can you all see? Can you see the inside? Can you, listen here. I want to taste it, but I know it's too hot. My mouth is salivating. Let's put a little bit of rice on there. Oh my goodness. And as always, God bless you all. Thank you all for watching. Good night.